The name Pinpoint Extreme really comes from our commitment and our diligence with experimentation. Pinpoint Extreme is an anagram, which means if you shuffle the words within those two names, you can come up with two different words. And you can indeed come up with Pinot Experiment. We have one opportunity per year to really learn about different techniques that can help us achieve the next level of quality, but also the next level of natural winemaking and vineyard expression. So we have committed since 2011, this is our first offering, where one of our trials will become available to all of our consumers. I think it's exciting. I'm not sure that other folks are doing that. For the 2011, we selected Anderson Valley as our appellation, and we wanted to explore using whole clusters or stem inclusion in the Pinot Noir. That's a very common practice, and that simply means that after you harvest the fruit, you'll take some percentage of the whole clusters without taking the berries off the stems and adding them into your fermentation vat. So I decided to look at just adding whole stems back. After we destemmed, we'd add some percentage of the stems back. So we conducted those trials, and I soon found out that those stems were, having gone through the process, were somewhat mangled, and they were too tannic. They're too astringent. There were bitter tannins that were coming through. Well, what if we try to mitigate those hard, bitter tannins by slow roasting the stems? And the process is important, and for all those other winemakers listening, I'm going to give away the secret. You're welcome to try it. What we do is we'll destem fruit and collect all the stems, and we'll take those stems and send them up our normal sorting conveyor. And part of that incline conveyor, we have nozzles where water comes in and will clean the system. And so I add the stems on that conveyor, turn on the water nozzles, and it cleans the stems. That's important because otherwise you have a lot of sugar, and that's what will caramelize and burn and become charry, and we don't want that with a Pinot Noir. So we'll put the stems up the incline conveyor, wash them thoroughly, let them dry, and then we add them in little increments into a chili roaster, which becomes a big project for one of our interns. And you turn the chili roaster, and there's a propane tank that has 3 burners, put them on low, and slowly turn the chili roaster. So it's more of a steaming than a roasting. You really just want to create the heat that will help denature those hard phenolic bitter components, lessen their extent to what they can bring to the wine. And with the 2011 Pinpoint Extreme, this was from Anderson Valley, from Anderson Creek Vineyard, and we wanted to somewhat exaggerate the percentage of of roasted stems. So this is with 50% equivalent stems slowly roasted and added back. And when you taste the wine, there's certainly a presence of that. There's more of a floral, more of a paprika, an exotic spice that comes through, an earthiness that comes through. But importantly for me, on the palate, there's more nuance, there's more layers, there's more texture, and there's a little bit more grip. There's a little bit more structure and support for this wine. And Anderson Valley is typically an area where Pinot tends to be very elegant, and I believe with the right amount of slow roasted stems, we can create wines that have a little bit more of texture that I'm looking for. What we're hoping to showcase are the relevant experiments and research that we've done in the past, and that we have already begun to implement in our winemaking and in our production efforts. So the idea of slow roasting stems I've been doing since the 90s, and this is something that has become part of our process. A much lower percentage. This I wanted to somewhat exaggerate so people can learn. But every year we conduct mini trials. I feel that, especially with Pinot Noir, we have one opportunity per year to learn as much as possible. So last year, as an example, we did 4 different, very serious, well-designed Pinot trials, and perhaps in 2013, that one of those will become our next Pinpoint Extreme.